So guys, this has been the topic for the last couple of months. Ever since Tesla released the Model 3 Highland, people were wondering when we are going to be getting the acceleration boost upgrade. Now, there has been some speculation whether Tesla is purposely holding back the performance to widen the gap between their highest end trim versus the long range model. And of course, with no real certainty to all this, it could very well be the case for the foreseeable future. However, this would put it into a very odd situation as there would be disparity all within the same trim. This means that the older Model 3 long range would be quicker than newer one. And when we come down to pure numbers, we are looking at a difference of 0.5 seconds, and even though this doesn't sound like a much, a 0.5 difference is a very substantial in the car realms. This means that we are sitting at 3.7 seconds with the acceleration boost on the older model, whereas the newer one is going to be sitting flat at 4.2. But for the majority, this is not going to be a big issue for people owning this trim, as they are more intended for longer road trips and longer distance, but it would be nice just to have the option available to unlock for those of you that really want it. Now, here's the weird thing, and what makes the long range such a unique vehicle versus any of the other trims. The rest of the trims do have different variations of it, like LFP versus NMC, and the performance ones having something else on a different line, but the long range has kept its performance all the way through, from the battery to the motor to the exterior. That means that technically it should be able to upgrade just as did the older version. So when it comes down to it, outside of the aerodynamics testing and 0 to 60 ratings, there should not be any additional code base changes, and all it takes is just a flip of a switch that Tesla can just activate it on all models across that same trim. And yeah, all you need to know is that if you own a new Model 3 Highland long range version, you can see this activated at any given time, and that acceleration boost option should appear within the app, and you can just pay to unlock. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself and say something that I cannot fully confirm, but I have been in contact with somebody in China that has given me indications that the acceleration boost is going to be coming out, and it's going to be coming out fairly soon. So for those of you eager to get that extra performance, that extra peppiness in your car, you won't have to wait much longer, as we'll be hearing about it very soon. But on a side note here, there may be some kind of surprise coming out with this package, and you'll really be mind blown when it does. In a recent sighting by a user on Facebook that goes by Caden, there is a new Model 3 that has been parked on the side of the streets in California that looks extremely out of the ordinary. This beautiful white on red Model 3 looks to be an engineering vehicle according to its license plate, and it looks to be something new that Tesla is testing. Very similar to the recent encounter we had with the Tesla Model 3 Performance with the track package. This is where the engineer advised us not to film on the inside, as well as not to post any confidential data. This is exactly the same case. Looks like Tesla is now making slight modifications to the car within the same trim. This Model 3 here has just been spotted a few days ago, and it looks to be a very unique and special Model 3 long range, and with some very subtle differences that you may pick out if you really know what to look for. First things first, you'll notice that it has the manufacturer plate on from California. This is where they typically do all their tests, and this makes it not just a basic Model 3. This is one of their internal cars that they are doing all the new projects on. Next, if you take a look at the wheels, these are the same 20-inch warps that we have seen on the Model 3 Performances. This is very different than anything Tesla is offering with two of the other trims, so this makes it very unique and one of the very special characteristics of the highest trim. Then, even more surprisingly, if you take a look right at the front windshield, right inside the interior, you will notice that this has the new sport seats that are only available and exclusive to their performance lineups, such as the Model S, Model X Plaids, as well as the Model 3 Ludicrous. Now, obviously, at first glance, somebody that doesn't know what to look out for, they're not going to know that this is any different than any of the other trims, but if you take a look at the rear of the car, you will see that it does have a dual motor badge. This indicates that this is the all-wheel drive version, and it is the long-range variant. Now, another thing that would signify that this is the long-range rather than the performance is if you look inside of the wheels, there will be the brushed aluminum calipers rather than the painted reds. This is a very obvious one, and if you know what you're looking for, this should be the first indicator. And then for the final thing, and I would say this is the main differentiator between the long-range versus the performance, is going to be the front bumper with the new aggressive styling and the side air ducts. This is not present on this vehicle, even though the rest of the upgrades are, so this would definitely be the long range model. Now, we don't know exactly what Tesla is going to do with this car, but if it does come true, it's going to be pretty insane stuff, just because the long range model and now having more options, more aggressiveness, and more comfort, this is going to be one of the cars that are going to be the top contenders with sales. So now you also want to consider that with this upgrade, if offered, is not going to change the characteristics, the performance, and the overall driving experience of the car at all. This is all just going to be for the exterior looks as well as the comfort of the new seats. But really, having the option for a much more aggressive wheel really changes the entire look of the car, as well as having the interior change with the sport bucket seats. This is going to give you that additional comfort and support, as well as give you the look that you wanted in your new Model 3. Honestly, I can see this one being a hit. A lot of people are going to be going for the longer range, but with all the best features of the top end trim, this is going to increase the user experience as well as giving additional sales to Tesla. I for one would love all the benefits of a long range, including its softer suspension as well as additional range, but at the same time getting all that beautiful look from the Model 3 performance. This would be one of those ultimate cars that the mass would probably want. Now obviously, one thing that Tesla has to keep in mind, and I'm sure they've already considered is that they don't want to undermine the performance trim, meaning that all the exclusive features are still going to be for that car. This means that the acceleration, the additional motor, power, battery, as well as those unique features such as the rear spoiler, the ludicrous badge, the red brake caliper, the lower stance, and the front bumper. These are things that are still going to be exclusive to the performance model, and the long range is just going to get a basic few. So ultimately, I think this is a win-win for both sides. Tesla can make a lot more money and a lot more volume sales of these trims and these parts, as they can move the seats and the brake calipers all onto another production line like the long range and now sell it at a much more premium price. This is where it won't add any additional complexity, but it will bring that additional sales. So to wrap things up, I think having these two additional options are really great for the user experience overall, as well as benefit Tesla in so many different ways. But at the same time, with Elon promising that we will be getting a track package in the future, we might be seeing the same for the long range, and then we're gonna get track mode, which there was also referenced back in a few years ago. When all of these things are available, I think it's going to be a very attractive buy for the long range model, and I think the majority of people who want the all-wheel drive is going to get a ton more and a lot more benefit out of this purchase. So there's definitely tons of rooms for customizability and upgrades. This is it, and this is what I am really excited for. Hopefully this prototype or this test engineering vehicle is just not a one-off, and we will be seeing it in the design studio very soon. Anyways, I'd love to hear what you guys think about all this. Do you think that this is going to be the best Model 3 long range ever? And if Tesla is going to be changing the entire lineup of what they're going to be offering, is this something that you would possibly pick up if it was offered with the federal incentives available? This is such a great buy in the end. But anyways guys, I will continue to follow up on everything. If any more information comes out regarding this, you will hear it here first. So make sure you stick around, hit that subscribe button, that bell notification, and follow me on Twitter at HeyJohnE. Over there you guys can chat with me, DM with me anytime, and I will try to respond as quickly as possible. This should be it for this one. I will see you in the next. This is John once again. Peace out.